Hello everyone, this video is intended for those that need Live in Story 3 currencies pretty quickly. The video is going to be split into different sections of each map. While the video is very long, please just feel free to skip over to whatever map that you need. If you want a quick list of what trinket goes to what map and what their costs are, I'll put a link in the description below to my website. In addition to that, I do have a written guide for this whole video, so also check that out. Before getting into any of the Live in Story 3 maps, the one thing you should do every day if you want to get all the Live in Story currencies is to farm a home instance that has it, or if you have it your own. Each node in the home instance will guarantee you a couple of the currencies, some offering a little bit more than others. These nodes are obtained by each of the respected Live in Story maps, and when you talk to the Unbound Magic vendor, it costs both the currency and some gold. Starting off with the first Live in Story 3 map, Bloodstone Fen. Here you can get the Ascended Ring, Amulet, and back piece. These are unique compared to the other Live in Story 3 trinkets that we'll be going over because there's an NPC here that can offer an item that can reset the stats of those Bloodstone trinkets. Word of caution though, if you have anything like an infusion or an enrichment in any of those slots, they're going to get removed and not extracted, so make sure you extract those first before you use the item to change the stats. For the node spots, Bloodstone Fen has 3 layers. It has the bottom floor, the middle floor, and the top floor. So going from top to bottom, I'll place these pictures of where these nodes are. At the top layer, there are platforms that are shattered all over the sky. Some nodes can be next to the first waypoint, but most of them are generally in the eastern section. Here's an example. I'm just taking a glay line up and I just happen to see a bloodstone crystal on the side. And now that I finished that one, I see that there's one on the island across from me. For the middle ground, or just the base ground, these nodes are generally on the border of where the Bloodstone Maw is, which is this big crater on the eastern side. The last general location is in the Maw and all the way at the bottom floor. There are nodes that are on the edge of stuff. Some of them are on an island that are floating on the bottom. You'll just kind of have to fly around and check whether or not it's like right at the edge or like deep within. For hearts, there are actually none in Bloodstone Fen. For Live in Story 3 maps, this is the only map that doesn't have anything. So skipping to the events, I actually don't recommend doing any of the events to get daily currency at all because all of them either take too long, require a group, or they're just mean. Of course, if you need the events for like achievements or something, definitely try to find a group. But if you're trying to get some currencies, this is not the way to go. Moving on to the second Live in Story map, Ember Bay. Here you can get an Ascended accessory and a back piece. Nodes are kind of spread out through the map, but they are mostly generally at the eastern side and in the caldera at the north. You can find most of these like kind of hidden underneath or on the side of a rock or on the shoreline on the eastern side. For hearts, there are 5 of them and all of them are actually quick and easy to do. I'll start by showing off the hearts from the east to west or left to right. What you see in the footage right now is me taking the westmost waypoint and then taking the thermal that's literally right in front, and it takes you directly to the heart that's in the northwest corner. To get this done really fast, ignore the Jades because they're jerk faces. There are towers along the coastline, and try not to get super close to them because if you're within this range, they slow you down. If you just need a little bit more credit to finish the heart, generally there is an event that's all the way north from where this heart is, and there are these destroyers that spawn. The second heart is located in front of the waypoint that we took the thermal to the first heart, but instead this one is just straight past the thermal. There are a lot of easy ways to do this heart. The fastest in my opinion is to fly around and gather these eggs from these nests. They're all located on either the ground or on top of all these ledges. Once you feel like you got enough of these eggs, you can go ahead and go to where the heart is and just turn them in. If you just need a little bit more credit, you can kill the rolling devils and the raptors that are nearby. For heart number 3, you can take the middle waypoint, the one that has 3 thermals right next to it. Once your character is loaded in and you face the direction of the thermal, you're going to take the leftmost one. This thermal is going to take you directly all the way to the heart. You could take the ley line beside it too if you want some unbound magic because there are some inside that ley line, but this is a lot faster. Once you're here, there's a lot of easy tasks that you can do. You could either res the NPCs that are down nearby, you could kill some mobs, or you can interact with these consoles that are all over the place. For the fourth heart is at the east waypoint. The fastest thing you can do is interact with these weapon crates. They are usually right in front of the waypoint and around it, but they are also where that lava river is. They are also on the edge of that. You could also pick up a stranded skrit that is in the middle of this lava river and turn it back to the area next to the NPC. For the final heart, all you have to do is just kill stuff. Sometimes there's an event here where you have to kill destroyers in order to collect something, and that's a really easy way to get some credit. Or you can interact with these dwarven artifacts, and sometimes a lava worm will spawn and you can kill those so you can get double credit. For events, there are 4 of them that can grant you the petrified wood. If you're a solo player, I don't really recommend doing any of them unless there is somebody doing it or there's a group doing it, because you might just have a better time doing the hearts with different characters or something. I'll pull up a list on what I think is the best events to do. Each of these events grant 3 petrified wood each, per character, per day. Starting off with the Dominator event, the fastest way to get there is take the middle waypoint, take the southmost thermal that is there, and it's going to take you into a caldera of where the event is located. Now in the video, I got here when the boss is already up, but there is a pre-event to this where you have to free 12 skrit, and all you have to do is CC these trapped skrit. Once you get to the boss, his attacks are pretty easy to follow because they're all telegraphed. Every 25% of his health he goes invulnerable, and you have to kill these destroyers that spawn in the lava pool. For the sloth event, there is a pre-event to this. In the footage, I'm doing the second event of this chain. The first event is a gathering event that happens south of the westmost waypoint. It's super easy, you just have to gather water and poop. After that, an escort will start immediately, and it's a pretty slow escort. The mobs spawn pretty slow, and the NPC itself is pretty slow. The tricky part is when you get to the boss, you actually need DPS in order to complete the event, because this sloth will try to eat these little slublings that are around, and once it gets to 5, the event fails. For the worm, I actually got footage of the pre-event. It's very slow and it's very boring because all you do is kill destroyers and you turn stuff into these turrets. Luckily, this does give a lot of event credit, so like I said before, how do you get credit for this heart is you kill stuff, and this is killing stuff anyway, and you get credit for turning the stuff in, so it kind of just works out that way. But if you did this heart already and you're thinking about doing this event for the currency, don't do it, because the next event is actually even slower, because all you do is now, instead of running around killing stuff, now you sit in one place and you kill stuff. For the last event, this one out of all of them is pretty bad because you have to spend 5 gold in order to start it. Once you start it, all you do is follow this NPC that just looks for treasure all over the place, and she moves very, very slow. Okay, so now for Bitterfrost. This is like the ultimate live in story map if you want trinkets. You get the accessory, ring, back piece, and an aqua breather. This is also the easiest live in story map to get the currency. This picture is my specific route, but there are many other specific routes, either Taco or other YouTube videos, so if you want to follow those and it works for you, great, but here's mine. Go ahead and pause this video if you want to take a closer look at it. Otherwise, it's on my website on my Live in Story 3 page as well. For the events, there are actually none that give you bonus winter berries, but there is a chance to get it from the map bonus reward, but it's very minimal and it's not worth to farm the winter berries from events. Just stick to the gathering route with different characters and you're all set. This goes along with hearts too. While they're all very easy to do, it might be better just to gather with the ults. But if you don't have that many ults and you want to utilize all the hearts as much as possible, here's some easy ways of how to get them done really fast. Going from east to west or left to right, we're going to start with the Disrupt the Swannier heart. There are 2 ways to complete this heart really fast. 1, kill the Swannier, because you will need 3 items, which are like armor pieces. You'll need the chest, leggings, and helmet in order to talk to the heart. Second thing is to run around and destroy these dragon banners. They give a lot of credit to the heart. Next heart is just a little northeast from the first one. You could kill some mobs for some easy credit, but they take a little while. So what I like to do is go to where the heart is, and there are these abandoned eggs that you can pick up, and there's some kind of like incubator. You put those eggs in an incubator and interact with it to get some credit. For the next heart, if you look at the minimap right now, you can see where I am. This is also part of the Winterberry farm, and what you could do while you're doing a Winterberry farm is you can kill the mobs and you can interact with these ice things to get some easy heart credit. And now for the last heart. This one is located all the way at the bottom right corner of the map. What I like to do is gather these herbs that are located on the far east side. There are a couple of mushrooms that you can kill because they're a little annoying, but majority of the time just gather the herbs and then turn it to a little bucket next to the NPC. And now for Lake Doric. In my opinion, it's probably the worst Living Story 4 map in terms of currency because you can get the amulet and the back piece in this map. But for these pieces specifically, I'm sure you can get these in other maps a lot easier. There are 6 hearts in this map, but I only recommend doing 3 of them. 2 of them are easy, while 1 of them is somewhat tedious but offers more jade shards than the others. The rest I won't show in the video. While they're somewhat simple tasks, they're really tedious. But before we get into that, here are the gathering spots for Lake Doric. They're very particular where they are. They're usually in water or around bodies of water or on the edge of like a cliff or something. Each heart will grant you 3 jade shards. This first heart is located right when you enter Lake Doric if you're entering from Divinity's Reach or from the Portal Tome. You can grab some water that's hanging on the side of the building. Take that water bucket, press 1, and you'll have this AoE around you. Just run around and make sure that that circle overlaps with the fire. Second thing you could do is grab some rations or on either the side or within the camp, and just run around and find a seraph that says they're hungry and just press 1. It's kind of RNG how much credit these seraphs will actually give you. Some of them will give you a lot of credit and some of them will give you very little. So just run around this whole entire block from the waypoint all the way down south and just keep finding more. They have a very low cooldown for when they become hungry again. Next heart is directly east. There are 4 apple trees. You can interact with all of them, and every time you do, they spawn a spider. A spider which you can actually kill so you can get some event credit. But before you kill them, you'll have an apple in your hand, and if you run around the edge, there are these hungry seraphs again. Feed them, then head back to the apple tree, kill all the spiders that you just spawned, and then just repeat the process over again. For the third heart, this is the one that's a little particular because it gives you more jade shards, which I'll explain once we finish this heart. What you want to do is you want to go to the north waypoint, and this you want to kill mobs and you want to destroy mines and interact with animal location devices. Once you finish the heart, you want to find the NPC. He may be outside or inside or underground. Purchase a key from him and then go underground. There's a fake wall of boxes you can interact with to enter into a puzzle. I'll put a link on top of the video to show you how to do it from a different person. While you watch that video guide, I will say that you can mount through the majority of it to avoid most traps and knockdowns. In the middle of the puzzle, you're going to get a mini chest with 1 jade shard and another item to use with your key. Use that key and combine it with the item once you get to the final chest to get 5 more jade shards. For the events that give you the currency, there are 3 metas in this map, though this map is very weird when it comes to the metas because there is a successful meta and there's a fail meta. When you go to each of these areas, the north, middle, and the southern area, you'll see that the meta on the side changes its name, and you'll see a description about it. If it says that the seraph is taken over, then the meta was successful beforehand. But if it says the white mantle have taken over, there's probably an NPC nearby that'll have a tangerine symbol to be like, hey, we seraph, we want to take it over, and it'll start the meta even if the meta wasn't supposed to be up according to the timers. So here's an area that the white mantle took control. All the metas that would have played out if it would have gone through the original time itself, it would have started off with a boss, defense event, and then kill mobs. But when you start an event that white mantle have been taking over, then it starts backwards. So now we're trying to capture the place, kill the boss, and then we're going to kill all the rest of whatever mobs that is left. Once you complete the meta, then there'll be a chest on the side of like a building or something, and that will have the jade shards. Normally they'll auto-load, but if you're too far, you might have to interact with it. For the 5th map, now we have Draconis Mons. This is personally one of my favorite Living Story 3 maps. In terms of currency, I think it's pretty fair. Even though this map is pretty complicated, the exchange rate is very cheap. You can get the amulet and ring. There are 4 hearts in the map, which I do recommend doing all of them because I think they are very easy and very fast. The gathering portion though is probably what will be the most confusing for most people because of how the layout of this map is. So I'll try my best to show all the areas where the nodes are. So starting from the waypoint, you will just kind of go up this hill and walk around this area. There's some on near the water, there's some near the edge. Once you get to the middle floor, you're gonna kind of hang on the side of the edge. You may or may not find some nodes that are also isolated in the middle of this path. Next to the middle of the caldera, you'll see a path that it hits right on the edge on the top, and then it just almost does a 180 and it goes south. Follow that trail as you would see in the minimap, and as you keep going on this trail, on the side of it, you're gonna see more or less nodes. As you keep climbing, you're gonna see your map's gonna change into a different level. Once you get here, you're gonna enter this cave. As you go deeper into the cave, all the way in the north tip of it, there's a tiny little opening. It's really hard to tell, but when you get to this opening, there'll be an unbound magic just floating right at the entrance. Just hop over and you'll get to outside of the cave. Once you do, you'll be in this inquest area, and all over the tops of these, I don't know what you call this, it's like a rock, there's a lot more nodes. Once you got all those nodes, head northeast and you'll see more on the edge. But what you want to do is, there's a little hole. Okay, I guess it's not that little, but you're just gonna drop from there. Or you can just take the waypoint that's on the second level and work your way throughout this area. I totally don't know if this is the most optimal route, but this took me like 11 minutes and I got about 27 orchids. So not bad, I don't think. Okay, so now to the hearts. We're gonna work our way from bottom to top since this map is so vertical instead of left to right. From the bottom waypoint, or the starting waypoint, whatever you think it is, there will be a thermal just ahead of it. Take the thermal and you're right at the first heart immediately. There are 3 easy ways that you can do this heart. One is you can interact with these suspicious bushes, and there's always going to be a mob that you can kill. So that will give you both credits, one for interacting and one for killing. The second thing you can do is that there's druids around and you can just kill those easily. The third thing you can do is that there's usually these trapped people wrapped in vines. That's also very fast. Next heart is on one more level, but the waypoint is all the way at the top of the map. There are also a few things that you can do here that work really fast. The first thing you can do is on the top of ledges, there are these golem parts. Grab it, and then there's some kind of dead golem that's on the ground, and just take the part to that golem. In the corner of some areas, there might be some spider eggs that you can kill. You may see a lot of interactable mushrooms. Even picking that up will get you some credit, and then killing the mushroom that spawns after will too. Other stuff that you may kill are inquest and spiders. For the third heart, this one is located at the top layer, but the waypoint is at the east. Around the area, you can find a couple of these large enforced walls. Go inside and interact with the cages and kill any mercenaries. Besides that, there are a lot of mercenaries around that you can kill for easy credit. For the last heart, take the same waypoint as the help the prisoner heart. Ride the thermal in front of the waypoint leading to the center of the map. There, you're going to find another thermal across the river of lava. At the tipping point of your arc, when you ride this thermal, start gliding. Glide or mount west and you'll arrive to the next heart. At this heart, just kill inquests. Sometimes they may drop an inquest key. Pick it up and find a keypad. This will remove the red light AoEs from the ground, but also give you more credit to the heart. And now to the events. There are 3 event chains that give 3 fire orchids daily, though I only recommend doing it if you have a decent group around. Otherwise, the events could take too long or they're really hard to solo. For the meta, there are 3 pre-event chains to get the final reward of 3 fire orchids. I don't recommend doing this meta for the sake of getting currency, as it would take a very long time and it's very hard to solo or even with a small group of players. You would need to do 7 events where you would kill lots of destroyers throughout the whole map. Then you would have to do 4 events where you kill burrows and a champion at each. Then you have to kill at least one of these legendary destroyer wyverns that require major DPS and CC to succeed. Next event is the worm. There is a pre-event that occurs in this lava pit north of the east waypoint on the top floor. Kill mercenaries and then a lava worm will spawn afterwards. You should range this boss. You can range him from here, or if you want to be a derp, you can range him from back here, though your camera angle is going to be a little effed up. There is a platform in the middle that you can range from, but then you have to watch for its mechanics. Stand on the left to avoid it from face palming, kill any elementals, and then dodge if it twists its head. Last event, I call it the Druid because it has a weird name that I have no idea how to pronounce. From the east and bottom waypoint, you're going to take the thermal as if you were going to the first heart. There are NPCs with like some kind of tangerine symbol, and that's how you start the event. It's first an escort, then a defense event, then the boss. Okay, now to the final map. Here you can get an amulet and various back pieces. Each back piece has a different color at every heart vendor. In my opinion, Siren's Landing is one of the easiest maps to get the currency. There are 5 hearts, which are probably the fastest hearts out of all of them that I've shown, and there are a couple events that give some currency. For the nodes, each one will grant you a guaranteed Orient Pearl, much like the ones in Bitterfrost. The only difference is the Glyph of Bounty will not proc it, so you can't get double or more in one node. Most can be found near a shore, through the river of the middle of the map, and in various random locations. Here's a random map if you want to just pause the video so you can see where they are generally located. And now for the hearts. Each one gives you 3 Orient Pearls. I'm going to start with a heart that is closest to the waypoint. So we're going to start with the southeast heart, which is Melandru. You want to grab as many mobs nearby as possible. Kill them at the same time and try to get them like on top of each other. After that, kill a leyline scavenger, pick it up from whatever item it drops, and then use the number 3 skill on your bar on top of the corpse, and you'll most likely finish the heart in one go. Going clockwise now, we're headed to Grenth. This one, you want to kill a leyline scavenger again, but this time you're going to find these little reliquaries that are next to the wall. Pick the item from the scavenger and have some distance between you and the reliquary. Press the number 4 skill and just wait until this orb reaches the reliquary, and the further distance you are, the more credit you get. But you don't want to go too far, otherwise it'll kind of detach itself. Next is Joanna. We're going to grab an artifact that looks like an item floating in the sky. Afterwards, you're going to glide or mount through these green spots. You only need a few to finish the heart because it just gives you so much credit. As with Grenth's heart, you're going to kill a leyline scavenger and use the number 4 skill. You're going to find a reliquary, have some distance between you and the reliquary, and you're going to have to wait until that orb reaches the reliquary. You could also go to some lava pit, not the one that's in the center, but the ones that are on their top, and you can range some mobs. Be careful, you don't want to aggro the rock elemental because those guys are douchebags. And now for the last heart. In Lissa, you can kill a scavenger and just do the exact same thing as the other 2 hearts, where you use the number 4 skill to take the orb to the reliquary. You could also use the number 3 skill to go to a fountain that's like all green and gooey, and it will cleanse that. For events, it's kind of strange because not all of them get you like a set amount. Some will give you 1, some will give you 2, some will give you 3. It's weird. So starting off with the meta, there are 4 shrines, each one having their own pre-event and a boss. So the pre-event is what you see on the screen right now. Is basically you just kill mobs and you pick up this essence and turn it in. Afterwards, a boss will spawn. In this particular location, I'm at the southeast one, and it spawns a risen Drake. For every boss you kill, you get 1 Orient Pearl. So since there's 4, you get 4. Moving on to the next event, this is called the Winfred Escort. This event starts at the main waypoint and has like a little tangerine above its head, so you can start it whenever. He'll traverse through the middle of the map and end up coming across the boss. After the boss is when you get the 2 Orient Pearls. Next event is the Wyvern. This one is located on the far west side of the map. The pre-event is to gather artifacts just like as you would do the heart. After turning them in, you have to kill this wyvern by grabbing another artifact, which can be next to the NPC. And then you want to make sure you glide to the right. This is to avoid these like big green shockwaves that stun you in the air that's caused by the wyvern. Use your number 3 skill to dash forward, and use your number 1 skill when you get close to the wyvern to stun it. You want to make sure it's CC'd in order to attack it. This event will give you 2 Orient Pearls. This next event is super whack. So there's a pre-event to the boss that you have to kill to get another 2 Orient Pearls. You have to go to this illusionary beast that's up in the sky, and you have to take these portals that will randomly take you there. So wherever this thing is, you want to kill it by standing behind it and making it run towards a wall. So once it aggroes you, and hopefully it runs to a wall, it will stun itself and then it's vulnerable. After that, you run all the way down to the ground, and next to the heart there will be a land shark that will spawn. There is one more event that gives you Orient Pearls, but it's so stupid that I don't recommend it at all. There's this worm that spawns in the Balthazar area once in a while, and it's just impossible to kill it. You can't really range it, you can't melee it, it's bad. And that concludes the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful and make it less tedious to get these currencies. As a reminder, all of this information can be found on my website as well. So, just like, subscribe, do whatever YouTube things that you need to do, and I'll catch you next time.